What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Learning to Code with Multi-Theft Auto. In this episode, we're going to introduce object-oriented programming and what that means in Multi-Theft Auto. Over the next several episodes, we're going to dive deep into what object-oriented programming is, what it allows us to do, how we can create our own classes, and why we should be using it. In this episode, we're going to look at specifically what Multi-Theft Auto provides for us and how we can use that to clean up some of our code. Let's start off with an example. Let's say that we have a local Cortez Boy variable that is the player with the name Cortez Boy. Multi-Theft Auto provides a function for us to make use of Cortez Boy and alter it in some way. So it allows us to do set element health. It accepts a player and the amount of health, and then it does some magic behind the scenes to actually set that player's health. So what we can do here is set element health, Cortez Boy, 100. And now I have full health and am ready to go. What the OOP syntax in Multi-Theft Auto allows us to do is take Cortez Boy and just call set health directly on the Cortez Boy instance because it has functions on it itself and run set health. Now, what this is essentially doing, this colon here tells Lua that we want to take what is on the left side of the colon and pass it into the function that we are calling on the right side with that variable as the first parameter to that function. Now, this is extremely useful. First of all, just because it's shorter. If you put these side by side, you can see that clearly one is shorter than the other. And it's also simpler because you can tell by reading this from left to right that what you're doing is you're taking the Cortez Boy instance variable and you're calling a function on it of set health. So if you're doing a bunch of things at once, you would see Cortez Boy and then all of the different functions that you're using. And it also allows, when we get into creating our own classes and objects, for us to structure our code in such a way that related functions are grouped together inside of a class. Now, classes in Multi-Theft Auto, or Lua in general rather, are defined using the table structure that we've used in previous episodes. So Multi-Theft Auto is providing a player class to us by creating a table that has a set health method, which is a function that accepts self and the health amount, and then inside of that, they're doing the same code as what's happening in the set element health function above. Now, we're going to dive in a future episode into how we can create our own classes like this and how we can create instances of them. But for now, let's dive over to the wiki and see what this provides for us. So on the wiki, there is an OOP introduction article that walks you through pretty much what we just explained. They take the example of a vehicle and they show you how procedurally they have all these functions that accept vehicle and the various things to modify that vehicle. And then in the example below, how they take a new method of having a vehicle and using this object orientation, be able to run these methods against the actual vehicle instance that they've created there before. And it'll explain a little bit more about instantiation of those variables and how you can use them in your programming. If we come down here to OOP, one very important thing to note is turning it on. If you want to use Multi-Theft Auto's object-oriented methods in your resource, you need to define OOP true inside of your meta.xml file for that resource. If we dive down here into the function lists, client and function list server, when we click on these are very similar to the client functions and server functions in navigation, except for these are specifically going to show us what is available to us for object orientation. So we have a GUI window class that has create, set movable, and set sizable on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into our code. We're going to come over to players and open the meta.xml file, and we're going to just turn on OOP. Now with OOP turned on, we can go ahead and come into our login_c, and let's just go ahead and try and implement some of that object-oriented programming in our login window. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this GUI create window, and we're going to go GUI window.create. Now this alone is not shorter than the previous method. It's actually longer because we've just moved around the words and added a period. Where the real benefit comes in is on the lines below, where we can actually, instead of doing GUI window set movable, take this window variable and plop it right there, and then remove it from the method signature. This is significantly cleaner than what we had before. And this is where the real power comes in. By changing these to be called on the instance using our colon, we have made it significantly shorter and, in my opinion, more readable. So after this video is over, go ahead and dive over into your code and explore this yourself. Figure out how to use what we've learned here with the colon in your code. Figure out how to make your code shorter and go through the rest of this if you've been following along, and turn all of these into their object-oriented examples using the wiki. That's going to be it for this episode, guys. In the next episode, we are going to dive deeper into object-oriented programming, and we're going to look at how we can create our own classes and interact with our classes and Multi-Theft Auto's classes. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch right after this video goes up, so be sure to head over to twitch.tv/Daniel_let and follow along. I will see you in the next one.